Cloverdale Mall. This is the Metro Distribution Center near East Mall in Dundas. A active roof fire that you can see. Crews are working diligently with overhead apparatus to put it out. Starting at about 10 to 11 after the call came in. We'll have more on that story coming up. Also following the latest at Pearson Airport, where business leaders are calling on the feds to solve those long delayed lineups at the busiest airport in the country. The Maple Leafs will try to do something tonight they have not done in 18 years. That's advanced to the second round of the playoffs. We'll preview Game 6 in Tampa tonight. It's 11:32, 22 degrees. From 299 Queen Street West, you're watching Toronto's breaking news, CP24. Good morning. I'm George Longajanis. And back to that scene in Etobicoke. Chopper 24 is flying it live for us right now. This is a fire at the Metro Distribution Center on Vickers Road near East Mall and Dundas, near Cloverdale Mall. Now, as Chopper pulls out, you can see that it's clearly a fire on the roof. We don't have a lot of information from within. Toronto Fire does say, however, the building's been evacuated. We don't have information on alarms or the amount of apparatus or the response at this point. But again, that's the good news. No injuries to report. No word yet either what started or sparked the fire. But given the lack of smoke, it looks like they may be getting the upper hand. But roof fires can be some of the most stubborn ones. And as you see, the evacuations were successful, and we're certain that no one's in there being injured. We'll continue to follow that story of this fire in Etobicoke. Business leaders in Toronto are calling on the feds to solve those long lineups at Pearson Airport. Let's go live with Steve Ryan now for more. And, you know, when you start asking the feds to step in, it's getting serious.
It's getting serious, George, and the federal government, the Ministry of Transportation, has acknowledged that there is a staffing shortage. However, the minister does not believe that this is the reason for the long delays. He went on to say that pre-pandemic, the staffing levels are at 90%, and he said pre-pandemic traveling is at 70%. So he's relying on that 20% difference to suggest that it is not staffing issues that are causing the delays that sometimes are hours long. People have reported missing their flights as a result. He blames it on the lack of inexperience, if you will, when it comes to travelers who haven't traveled in a couple of years. Basically, he's saying that they forgot how to empty their pockets, empty their bags, and put those to the checkpoints, and as they fumble to get their property out, he said an extra 20, 30 seconds per passenger does add up, and he says that is the reason why the lineups are as long as they are. And we did hear from business leaders today, and they are calling on action ASAP to alleviate these long lines, and they're blaming it on staffing shortages. Here's information or a reaction from an industry insider who we heard from earlier on today. Let's listen.
My concern is that this poor first impression will keep people from returning to Canada, or stories of bad experiences here at Toronto's airport will force travelers to consider other locations and destinations instead. Toronto can't afford this. Canada and we can't afford this.
So if the feds are saying that, yes, staffing issues are not as they should be, and that they're looking into working on those, George, but if they're blaming or suggesting that it's people's inexperience when it comes to traveling, when it comes to getting the things out of their pockets, hard to say how quickly they are going to act to alleviate these lines. So the bottom line is they are aware that the staffing issues, there is shortages when it comes to security checkpoints, but they blame it on people's inexperience when it comes to traveling. So we'll see what gets done and how quickly it gets done as well. So back to you.
Okay, Steve, thanks for the report. And more long lineups again for people looking to renew a passport or to get a new one. This was a line outside a passport office at the mall at Burnham Road in Mississauga, Chopper 24 earlier. Now, a viewer on the ground told us people started lining up there at midnight. Long lines have been a big issue now for weeks as the demand for passports surges as travel restrictions are easing up.
As this is our third day here, made the runaround, and everything's disorganized. Nothing's been done in proper order fashion, and everyone's here just to update their passport from anywhere from 3 to 25 days of traveling. For us, we get a rush order, and this is the third time being here. It's just ridiculous.
They should be able to handle this kind of situation. So, like, for what forbid if something happens, but I don't think that they can handle it. The transportation, airports, everything is messed up.
Infectious disease physician Dr. Zane Chagla is calling on the federal government to dropped the mandatory vaccination policy for trains and planes in the country. He says the policy hasn't really been a big incentive to get vaccinated.
From November 30th, where proof of testing was lost as part of the ability to go on a plane or train, you really just had to be vaccinated outside of some certain circumstances. To now, there's only been about 3% of the population that's become fully vaccinated in that interim. And you could say there's a number of other reasons there, like local vaccine mandates and passports, workplace controls, etc. So I think we hit our peak. There's a lot of money being invested into this system, though. And again, is there a need to pivot some of that cash into more pro-vaccine uptake in communities, more communication, more support for clinicians and physicians to really counsel their patients on top of, the other medical demands that are going on?
And Dr. Isaac Bogosh says vaccine mandates that only require 2 doses are frankly outdated.
You could say, well, what if you have that 3rd dose? The answer is, yeah, you still will slightly reduce your risk of getting this infection. You'll still slightly reduce your risk of transmitting to others if you are infected. But that degree is much less with 3 doses now than it was, for example, with prior variants. So, but just taking it back for a second, it still protects you from getting severe infection. It still keeps you out of hospital. It still prevents you from dying. Like, these vaccines do a remarkable job of keeping people safe. You just have to ask the question, what's the goal of this policy? What are we trying to accomplish here? Are we trying to get more people vaccinated? Well, that's not really, I think that ship has sailed.
Ontario is reporting 14 more COVID-related deaths and a drop in hospitalizations. The province says there are 1,451 patients with the virus in provincial hospitals. Now that's down quite a bit from yesterday when there were more than 1,500. 175 of those patients are in intensive care. 2,160 new cases to report today, but officials say that will be an undercount because of limited access to testing. Moderna is releasing more data from the study of its COVID vaccine for kids between 6 and 11. The company says 2 50 microgram shots given a month apart provides roughly the same antibody levels as those seen in young adults who received 2 100 microgram shots. Researchers found the vaccine was effective at preventing asymptomatic infections to some degree, but they also noted the trial was done before the rise of Omicron. Side effects were generally mild, and no serious adverse affections and reactions were reported. The Toronto Maple Leafs will try to close out their playoff series with the Lightning tonight in Tampa Bay. Toronto overcame another slow start and a 2-0 deficit. Take Game 5, 4-3 Tuesday night. The Leafs now lead the series 3-2, and a win tonight will see Toronto advance to the second round of the playoffs for the first time in 18 years. TSN Bardown's Eric Kurtz spoke to us this morning about the big job ahead for the Leafs.
Of your Toronto, history does not bode well for you. They're 0-8 in closeout games since 2004. They've been to an elimination game for a winner-take-all elimination game since 2004, except for the Washington series. So Toronto really just needs to get out of their own head, play the hockey that they've been playing this season, this series, and really just close out the Tampa Bay Lightning, which would be the first time a team's closed them out in 2 years.
Maple Leaf Square getting packed with fans again tonight. Just like every game of this series and for years. Passes for the tailgate party outside Scotiabank Arena. Well, they were snapped up quickly. Meantime, Leafs superstar Austin Matthews is in the running for the NHL's most valuable player award. He's among the 3 finalists for the Hart Memorial Trophy. 24-year-old was already captured the Maurice Rocket-Richard Trophy after leading the league with 60 regular season goals. He also posted career highs in assists with 46 and points with 106. The winners of the 2022 NHL awards will be announced during the conference finals and Stanley Cup finals. If you've been holding off filling up the gas tank for a little while, today might be a good day to do it. Prices went down 4 cents a liter overnight, but that relief will be short-lived. The price of the pumps is expected to go up another nickel tomorrow. That'll bring the cost of a liter of gas to $1.98 per liter at most stations across the GTA. Some parks in Toronto could soon see private security guards on patrol around the clock. That's all part of the city's bid to deter encampments. City says security guards will monitor specific parks, including Trinity Bellwoods, Lamport Stadium, Alexandra, and Guthrie Grove, 24 hours a day to make sure that they're safe and accessible to all residents. The security guards would advise the city right away if any illegal tents or any other structures put up. Streets to Homes teams would then be dispatched to help anybody experiencing homelessness.
Idea is to prevent, large-scale encampments from becoming the norm in our parks, and so this is about prevention. This is also importantly about making sure that those experiencing homelessness know that there are services available to those who want to avail themselves of it.
One man we spoke to at Trinity Bellwoods Park this morning says this is the wrong approach.
I think the security guard would be great to protect us that are homeless, not to protect you guys from us, right? Because there are bad people that are homeless. They're drug addicts and stuff like that, and they're the ones they've even stolen from me.
The cost of hiring these security guards for the parks has yet to be determined. Another busy day on the campaign trail. All four main party leaders are pushing for your vote. NDP leader Andrea Horwath announced some more details about her mental health plan during the stop this morning in Paris. If elected, she says that her party will introduce the universal mental health care plan, providing OHIP-covered counseling and therapy services.
We have now isn't even really a system. It's really fragmented. It's really disjointed. So putting Mental Health Ontario together as an umbrella organization that will help us with all of the details around making sure access is available all over the province, making sure that we're keeping statistics around where the needs are not being met or where we may need to shift focus. This is a part of an entire system. It's a system that we want to build.
Liberal leader Stephen Del Duca made a platform announcement also about mental health this morning in Scarborough. He says the Liberal government would spend $3 billion on mental health care over 4 years.
We will train up 3,000 new mental health professionals, targeting specifically 1,000 mental health professionals for at-risk youth. And Janet and I were just talking a second ago about the work that takes place right here at Strides. So fundamentally important for our youngest people in particular who struggle with mental health challenges to get access to support in a timely fashion, especially for those in crisis.
PC leader Doug Ford spoke for the first time today about Stephen Lecce's fraternity slave auction event in 2006. Ford said that Lecce has his full support.
Stephen, he's acknowledged that it was inappropriate, and he's apologized for attending this event as a teenager. And, Mr. Lecce has been a strong advocate of combating racism in schools, and he has my full support.
Green Party leader Mike Schreiner unveiled his party's fully costed platform today. It includes promises to build and invest in Ontario's climate economy.
We will do it in a way that addresses the cost of living concerns that people have. First of all, by electrifying our transportation systems with a $12.4 billion plan to expand transit, to make our streets safe for walking and cycling, and to ensure that average folks can afford an electric vehicle or an electric bike to get around with low-cost, clean transportation.
Other Green Party priorities include investments in affordable housing, mental health, healthcare, and education. And Toronto Mayor John Tory is calling on those same provincial party leaders to address our city's priorities during this election campaign. Mayor Tory wrote letters directly to Doug Ford, Andrea Horwath, Stephen Del Duca, and Mike Schreiner, asking for their stance on a number of issues. He's looking for a funding commitment of $48 million every year for supporting housing and specifics on their plans for mental health care. Tory also wants a commitment to complete transit projects that include the Ontario Line, Scarborough Subway Extension, Eglinton Crosstown LRT, and we would like a response from them all by May 24th. And for everything you need to know about this provincial election campaign, plus the latest from the daily campaign trail, you can find that information on our website, cp24.com/yourvote. All right, it's 11:46, 22 degrees. You're watching Toronto's breaking news, CP24. 2 more probable cases of severe hepatitis in children have been detected in Canada. We'll have that information after the break.
Can I try to save your residency program?
Wow.
Are you okay?
I have to save the program.
It's cannabis. You're stoned.
Schmidt,
You shut up.
should gather respectfully, please. Get into it all with Grey's Anatomy tonight, 9/10 Mountain, only on CTV. And streaming anytime on ctv.ca and the CTV app.
Rolex, Rolex, Rolex. My cash for your used or new Rolexes. Bring me your Submariners, your Yachtmasters, your GMCs, your Datejust, your Datejust. All the jewelry pays the highest prices for Rolexes. All of the jewelry.ca. Oh, yeah.
Do you have a question about personal injury? Can I sue?
I'm Wendy of Sokolov Lawyers. I have over 30 years of experience and I can answer your questions, so call me.
If there's something you'd love to get done, a FlexiLine might be right for you. Find out why Canadians have been trusting Capital Direct for 25 years. CapitalDirect.ca.
2022 Men's World Hockey Championship, only on TSA.
The price is right. Now is the time to sell your gold. Bring me your gold jewelry, your gold coins, your gold bars, even your broken gold, even your gold teeth. All the jewelry pays the most for your gold. All of the jewelry.ca. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, Alberta, reporting 2 probable cases of severe hepatitis of unknown origin in children. The province's chief medical officer of health says both cases involve patients younger than 16. They were both hospitalized, but one has since been released. Health officials are investigating a rise in unexplained hepatitis cases in kids around the world. Most of the patients have recovered. Some actually required a liver transplant, and there have been a few that have died in both the U.S. and Indonesia. So far, no link, however, has been found to food, animals, or travel. The World Health Organization says COVID cases are continuing to come down everywhere except in the Americas and Africa. 3.5 million new infections and more than 25,000 deaths reported globally, according to the group's weekly pandemic report. Now, those numbers represent declines of 12 and 25% respectively. World Health says cases rose by 14% in the Americas and 12% in Africa. The organization says a downward trend in reported infections began in March, but many countries have scrapped widespread testing and other surveillance programs. U.S. President Joe Biden has warned the world that the pandemic is not over, and he's appealing to the world leaders out there to continue the fight against COVID-19.
We're going to face together global health crises. This is not the last one we've had. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So we have to invest now. We have to secure political commitments now. We have to start working to prevent the next variant and the next pandemic now. And that's going to require all of us to do more. I encourage every leader to ask yourself, what more can I do?
Now, this virtual meeting came as the U.S. nears 1 million COVID deaths. 8 months ago, Biden used the first summit to pledge to donate 1.2 billion vaccine doses to the world. But now the urgency of the global response appears to have waned. North Korea confirming today its first COVID outbreak since the beginning of the pandemic, forcing leader Kim Jong-un to wear a face mask in public for the first time. He imposed a nationwide lockdown in order to stop the spread after an unspecified number of people tested positive for Omicron in Pyongyang. But the scale of transmissions inside the country is still unknown. 10 to noon, 22 degrees. You're watching Toronto's breaking news, CP24. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll have a closer look at traffic and weather.
Winners like us, we play to win. And to the winner go the spoils. Third time I've been knighted. Everest. Love them all. China. Spoils. Unspoiled is spoils. And with North Star Bets, spoils don't stop. Sportsbook with betting insights? That's a win. A curated collection of casino games you love? That's a win. And with North Star Bets, all in one place. That's a win.
What am I looking at here?
This is what great sleep looks like.
Tell me more.
It's called the Purple Mattress. The Purple Grid is made from a hyperelastic polymer that responds to your body instantly, so it feels like this. It supports your whole body, but also flexes around your pressure points. It's soft where you want it and firm where you need it. The Purple Grid is about 80% air. That means it can breathe, so you're not too hot and not too cold. Exclusively available at Sleep Country and purple.com/ca.
You're too depressed to work. You know it, and your doctor knows it, and still your long-term disability insurance denies your claim. My name is Aaron Waxman, and I've spent my career helping disabled people just like you. Call me at 416-661-4878 or pound LTD on your cell phone. And before you call, you should always remember there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or pound LTD.
99.9 Virgin Radio is Toronto's #1 hit music station. Listen weekdays for your chance to win $10,000 when Virgin Radio pays your way. Presented by the Air Miles Reward Program.
The Riddler is asking for you.
Well, it's been a pretty impressive run of sun, dry weather, beautiful skies, a little bit of hazy sunshine at times, a few fair weather clouds to pretty up those pictures. And the temperature's slowly been climbing to the point where it starts to feel a little bit more like summer than spring. As we move forward through the next couple of days, the humidity built in to make it feel even more so. That said, it is a nice stretch. Eventually, we'll need the rain to water our lawns and gardens and make them green again. You may need to be doing some of that yourself. So, if you like it warm, if you like it dry, you got today, you've got tomorrow, you've got Saturday, and then Mother Nature comes back in to help with crops and plants and flowers. Here's your 7-day forecast, kind of tells the tale. Today, 25, not a ton of humidity. We've got a southeasterly wind, so a little fresher feeling right along the lakeshore, where we'll cap out around 20 away from the water to 25 across Midtown and Uptown, north end of the city. Only down to 14, so a comfortable start to your Friday, 25, but humidity building in under mainly sunny skies. We'll feel about 28 at our max, maybe 29. Saturday still muggy, 24, feeling like about 28. And then that ridge or the jet stream or the storm track, it just starts to settle a little bit back from northern Ontario to the lower lakes. So we're going to see some showers right along that and some cooler air get a little closer and then invade. So Sunday we'll get the afternoon showers, the evening showers. You can see an isolated shower in the morning as well. And then that rain continues through Monday morning and backs off to showers in the afternoon. It's behind this departing system. We're left with some cloud on Tuesday, but cooler winds, cool breeze, making it 17, which is close to where we should be. By that point, we should be hitting about 19 for high. The 17, not that far off the mark, just on a lot cooler than we've seen the last few days. And then on Wednesday, rebounds to near normal, 18, bright, mild, beautiful conditions. And we'll likely see a bit of warming as we head towards the long weekend as well. But enjoy the next few days. If you really enjoyed this early taste of summer, right through to Saturday, we'll continue with this pattern. That is your 7-day forecast. I hope it helps you plan. I'm going to send it back inside.
Quick check of the roads now. This is the 401 across the top of the city. These lanes are east of Kiel, both directions. Look really good, right at the limit. No problems with that. Or delays. Let's look at the middle of Toronto now. The Don Valley Parkway from our Winford Drive camera. The northbound lanes to the regular speed slowing down a bit. A little bit stop and go, but southbound coming into the city is wide open. Lots of time and space. And finally, the Dartmouth Expressway from our camera at Dufferin. There was a vehicle fire earlier. The vehicle's now been removed. It's still slowing things down slightly. The cars coming towards you coming into the city. So a little bit of delay there, but I wouldn't call it congestion. It is wide open and collision-free in the other direction. This is into and out of the corner, across the bottom. All right, it's 4 minutes now to noon and 22 degrees. You're watching Toronto's Breaking News, CP24. We're following a developing story from Etobicoke. We're live on the ground now as well. This is a fire at the Metro Distribution Center near East Mall and Dundas, close to Cloverdale Mall. We're working on a roof fire at this industrial complex. We'll have that and the rest of the headlines coming up at the top of the box on CP24 Live with you, with Nick and Chanel.
Our first visit from the stars was always science fiction. Until one day, it isn't.
I use Peace for Cash and own a house or condo. I'm Harold the Mortgage Closer. I can arrange a speedy mortgage and have the funds deposited into your account in 24 hours. $20,000, $50,000, even $100,000. Call me now for a speedy mortgage to relieve your financial stress. Fastest mortgage in town.
Check your free credit score at creditkarma.ca. Here's to progress. Allergy symptoms hit fast. Suddenly your face is stuffy, itchy, and runny all at the same time.
Good thing you have triple benefit reactant liquid gels. They provide fast, effective relief of allergy symptoms and last 24 hours. When allergies hit fast, reactant acts fast.
Welcome to BetMGM Live Dealer. All your favorite casino games. Blackjack, poker, roulette, craps, and more. All on your phone, desktop, or tablet 24/7. Play with friends or make new ones at the table. Double down, babe. Chat with players and live dealers like you're at the casino.
Give me a 10.
Now you're betting with the King Live Dealer.
BetMGM Casino is now available in Ontario.
You need money urgently. $20,000, $30,000, even $50,000. If you own a home with equity, I can provide your mortgage in 24 to 48 hours. Call me, Harold Mortgage Closer, at 647-400-4653 for a speedy first, second, or third mortgage.
It's Leon's Hot Trends event. Get 50% off select sofas when you buy the matching love seat and chair. Save up to 50% on mattresses. Plus, save up to $1,000 on select major appliance packages. The savings are heating up at Leon's. Visit leons.ca for details.
Any car can take you places, but mine does so much more. It keeps me connected to the things I like, heading in the right direction, and looking good. And when the unexpected happens, it helps protect me. That's why it's more than just a part of me.
The all-new Elantra. Stay connected and protected.
Toronto is one of the most vibrant, diverse, and interesting cities on the planet. We're a world leader in many areas like business, finance, technology, entertainment, and culture.
Each week, Things to Know TO shines a spotlight on a wide variety of local businesses, services, events, and initiatives from across the GTA that are working to make our city even greater.
And one of the world's best places to live, work, and play. Join us Saturday mornings for Things to Know TO.
Is your bathroom over 10 years old? I'm Mike Holmes here with Ivan from AGM Renovations.
Thanks, Mike. Bathrooms over 10 years old cause major water damage, flooding, and mold.
Ivan, I've seen a lot of this. Homeowners often don't realize what's behind the walls. AGM are the only bathroom renovation specialists I recommend. Visit agmrenovations.com today and renovate before it's too late.
And remember, we do kitchens too.
Call now and get $3,000 off.
When I was blindsided by a reckless driver, it wasn't just me who felt the pain. My entire family suffered. And when I turned to the insurance company for help, they denied our claim.
If you've been injured, call Prisoner Law.
Live pictures this afternoon. Emergency crews dealing with an active fire at the Metro Distribution Center. This is on Vickers Road near the East Mall in Dundas. The building has been evacuated. We'll get you an update.
Toronto business leaders are calling on the federal government to help deal with ongoing delays for travelers at Pearson Airport.
Well, the Leafs could advance to the second round of the playoffs for the first time in 18 years tonight. All they have to do is beat the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning.
Good afternoon and welcome to CP24 Live at noon. Hello, I'm Chanel Call.
And I'm Nick Dixon. Thanks for joining us. We begin this afternoon with crews on scene of a fire at a grocery warehouse in Etobicoke.
CP24 Steve Ryan is live for us from the scene. This is at the Metro Distribution Center near East Mall in Dundas. Steve, tell us more about what's happening there this hour.
Well, Chanel, the good news is the fire is out and there are no
injuries being reported, and that's because of a couple of things. Number one, again, great work by Toronto Fire getting here quickly to prevent this fire from spreading even more in this newly built factory or warehouse, and there is nobody in it because it is brand new and it is still under construction. So there are two good news, two pieces of good news that I'm able to report. Now, I spoke with personnel from Toronto Fire just a few minutes ago, and they say they believe the fire started on the roof. Some insulation caught on fire. Exactly what caused the insulation to catch on fire is unknown at this point, but you can see the fire crews are still on scene. The aerial trucks are still up, and they're cooling off the the roof of that distribution center to make sure that there are no hot spots. But once again, it was very good work by all of Toronto Fire who arrived on scene. They're able to contain this fire. The building is under construction, so there would be a lot of flammable objects or structures inside of that building, and there is nobody in the building because it is still under construction. So good news to report. A lot of damage being done, but hey, damage is something that can be repaired and replaced. Lives can't. Good news. Bad news for the fire, but that's about it with regards to what to report. Fire is out and no injuries. So thank you.
Okay, that is good to hear. That's our Steve Ryan live in Etobicoke this afternoon. We're also following developing news at Don Mills in Lawrence, where one person has been shot. Police say the gunfire broke out just after 11 o'clock this morning. Male victim found with serious injuries. Paramedics say these injuries are not life-threatening. Police say the suspect took off, and officers are now canvassing the area for witnesses.
Well, if you've had to catch a flight out of Toronto's Pearson Airport lately, you know all about those long lineups to get through security. Now, Toronto business leaders are calling on the federal government to do something about that. Leaders in Ontario's tourism sector are calling on the federal government to lift pandemic restrictions at Pearson, which they say are contributing to those long lineups. They believe the current situation could hurt the province and Canada's economy, given it's the biggest airport in the country.
We did the right thing. We protected travelers and our economy by putting new policies in place. We did what needed to be done. And now, to realize our potential, what is needed to be done is to ensure we remain a destination of choice. This problem has solutions to help realize that goal, but we must act now to reduce the duplications, withdraw the restrictions that were put in place, and fully reopen our economy. It's time to make the experience of coming here welcoming and enjoyable once again.
My concern is that this poor first impression will keep people from returning to Canada. Or stories of bad experiences here at Toronto's airport will force travelers to consider other locations and destinations instead. Toronto can't afford this. Canada and we can't afford this.
Also with COVID, Ontario is reporting 14 more COVID-19 deaths and another drop in hospitalizations. The province says there are 1,451 patients currently hospitalized with the virus. That's down significantly from yesterday when there were more than 1,500 patients in hospital. 175 patients are in intensive care units. 2,160 new cases are being reported today, but again, health officials say that is an undercount due to limited PCR testing.
Some Toronto parks could soon see private security guards on patrol around the clock as part of the city's efforts to deter incumbents. A live look this hour at one park here in the city of Toronto. The city saying security will monitor specific parks, including Trinity Bellwoods, Lamport, Alexandra, and Dufferin Grove 24 hours a day to make sure they're safe and accessible. Security guards would advise the city immediately if any illegal tent or structures erected. Straight to Homes teams would then be phoned in to help anyone experiencing homelessness.
It remains unsafe and unhealthy and illegal to camp in city parks. And the courts, in fact, upheld that in October 2020 when the parks bylaw was challenged around camping. So this is just one piece of a larger piece with respect to ensuring that people who are experiencing homelessness have access to shelter, have access to housing. The city and other governments are investing more than $500 million in affordable housing. That includes supportive housing, modular housing. That is the solution to homelessness, not camping in parks.
Residents who live near Trinity Bellwoods Park think this is the wrong approach.
There's strong points on both sides, but the main thing is that these are people that have no place to live, and to just use security to move them to another place is not exactly humane and not exactly solving the problem either.
I'm kind of hoping that they just maybe design a different approach, maybe more of a grassroots level where they could spend that money in other ways rather than policing.
And the cost of hiring security for those parks has not been determined.
While the Leafs will try to knock the defending Stanley Cup champions out of the playoffs tonight, they have an opportunity in Game 6. CB24's Gia Lee is live with more on this. Leafs Nation really taking a deep breath tonight, G.
Oh, I know, and I don't want to say anything to try and jinx it because we've been through this before. We haven't gone on to win a playoff series since 2004, so this is a big deal. All eyes will be watching this game tonight. Leafs taking on Tampa Bay in Florida. Now, they will try to knock out the defending Stanley Cup champions. Toronto hit the ice this morning in Tampa ahead of Game 6. Now, if you recall, the Leafs won Game 5, and it was a huge win because they came back from a 2-0 deficit to take that game and lead the series 3-2. It was a huge win. So what are we looking for tonight? Well, we need Jack Campbell in the net on fire to turn things up. And then we also need, obviously, the lineup, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, John Tavares, and William Nylander to once again be aggressive and score as many as they can. Here's more now from TSN Bar Down's Eric Kirk.
Of your Toronto, history does not bode well for you. They're 0-8 in closeout games since 2004. They've been to an elimination game for a winner-take-all elimination game since 2004, except for the Washington series. So Toronto really just needs to get out of their own head, play the hockey that they've been playing this season, this series, and really just close out the Tampa Bay Lightning, which would be the first time a team's closed them out in 2 years.
Talented team, and they absolutely can take down the Stanley Cup champions. You know, the Maple Leafs were the high-scoring team on the road with 159 goals. So you know fans are going to be gathering tonight at Maple Leaf Square. Again, you have to reserve a spot. All the spots have been taken up now at Maple Leaf Square. Puck drop is at 7:30. Nick, we'll send it back to you.
Right, big night indeed, G. Thanks for setting it up. In the meantime, Leafs superstar Austin Matthews is in the running for the NHL's Most Valuable Player Award. Matthews is among the 3 finalists for the Hart Memorial Trophy. The 24-year-old is already captained the Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy after leading the NHL with 60 goals in the regular season. He also posted a career high of 46 assists, total points there 106. The winners of the 2022 NHL awards will be announced during the conference finals and Stanley Cup final. All right, coming up here on TV24 live at noon here, beautiful afternoon out there, 22 degrees, blue skies, blue water, plenty of sunshine, the forecast next.
The Princess Margaret Cottage Lottery is here, featuring 3 incredible grand prize cottages. You could be living lakeside this summer in Muskoka, Halliburton, and Kawartha Lakes. Custom built by Linwood, cottages come fully furnished, decorated, along with $100,000 cash. Over 10,000 prizes to win, including convertibles, vacations, and so much more. Support one of the top 5 cancer research centers in the world. Buy now at PrincessMargaretAuto.com.
Turn your bedroom into a dream with Structube. Buy a bed and save 25% on mattresses and bedding essentials and get ready for a good night's sleep. Plus, enjoy free delivery with orders over $299. Structube. Low prices, amazing styles.
The last 2 years taught us anything, it's about how important it is to have someone special by your side. Misty River Introductions can help you find someone wonderful to spend the rest of your life with.
Get started on your new beginning. Packages starting at $26.50. Must be over 18.
Well, it's a stunner of a day. You know, we had a bit of a fresh breeze blowing in for the weekend, so the sunshine probably had you reaching for that light spring jacket. And the last couple of days, it's been warmer away from the water, probably probably to the point where you don't need a jacket at all. But along the lakeshore, a light windbreaker was probably still required. Well, we're warming up further today. Pearson heading to a high of 25, and along the lakeshore, probably getting around 20, which is really comfortable even without a jacket. The waters of Lake Ontario is still cold, so a little breeze might be refreshing at times, to say the least. But it's going to be a warm one away from the water, enticing into parks and on patios. Enjoy it. We've got a couple more days of dry weather, then the wet weather comes in on Sunday and Monday. We'll talk about that in the long range coming up.
Well, traffic is moving well on most of the major routes. We have some busy spots. And let's take a look at the cameras. Having some minor camera issues. Hopefully you can see the camera right now. This is the 401 eastbound through Mississauga Road. We have some volume through that stretch, and it starts back from about Winston Churchill Boulevard. Again, that's just volume. And again, we have a bit of volume through Mavis on the westbound 401. Let's get off the cameras, and hopefully we'll have them up and running for the next traffic hit. Just to mention, off the major routes, we have a warehouse fire at the East Mall in Dundas. The fire is out. No injuries, but emergency crews at the scene. A police investigation at Don Mills and Lawrence. And northbound Weston Road, just past St. Clair, the right lane is blocked with a collision. That's it for traffic. Back to you.
Heather, thanks so much. Now to the latest on the provincial election campaign trail. PC leader Doug Ford announcing his plan to build a new Highway 7 if reelected.
We're saying yes to building Highway 7, a highway that is desperately needed, a highway that will reduce gridlock to get drivers out of their cars and home faster to spend more time with their families. We're saying yes to a 4-lane freeway between Kitchener and Guelph. Yes to 2 new bridges over Grand River. My friends, we're saying yes to building Highway 7, to connecting Highway 7 to Conestoga Parkway. Because local families and workers have heard no for far too long.
NDP leader Andrea Borbath announcing more details about her mental health plan during a stop this morning in Paris. If elected, she plans to introduce the Universal Mental Health Care Plan, providing OHIP-covered counseling and therapy.
We can fix this together. We can bring mental health into our public health care system, making sure people can pay for services with their OHIP card and not their credit card. We can boost up access to mental health care by expanding the number of people that are providing services. And most importantly, we can make sure that people like Brandon and people like Maya and like Paul's son are able to access the services where they need it, when they need it, as part of a public system.
Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner unveiled his party's fully costed platform this morning. It includes promises to build and invest in the climate economy.
Our bold plan to build and create a new climate economy will be steadfast. It begins by bringing in the province's first carbon budget, charting a year-by-year pathway to crush climate pollution in half by 2030 and to be real net zero by 2045.
Other green priorities include investing in housing, mental health, and healthcare, along with education.
Stay with us. Coming up next on CB24 Live at noon, how to deal with baby formula and cooking oil shortages. We'll speak with the Retail Council of Canada about this. More on this in moments.
I'd like to make a toast to better days ahead.
To us.
She fell downstairs. Nothing's dead. We believe it was the homicide. It's a witch hunt. Keep your families close. We're not perfect, but we stick together. And we help each other.
Petersons are crazy.
It's Leon's Hot Trends event. Shop our hottest deals throughout the showroom. Visit leons.ca for details.
Oh, how's the open house? So good. Did you apply? Oh, I'll do it later today. Your credit score must be amazing. My credit score? Credit Karma. It's great. That's great. Just boom, bam, boom. Done. That apartment is mine.
Credit Karma, here's to progress. Thermador has transformed their appliances into intelligent, personal personalized experiences with Wi-Fi control, bringing artful refrigeration and cooking performance home. The innovation is ours. The expression is yours. Thermador.
For life's transitions, working from home, and even small businesses, life gets better when you have space. Access Storage can help. With no long-term contracts or leases, get the size you need. First 4 weeks free. Access Storage. Shop Canadian, store Canadian.
Questioning the leaders. They want to hear solutions from the different candidates. As the campaign heats up This could be a bit of a political pressure cooker. on the issues that hit home. Tonight on CTV News at 6.
This May, only Crave has the most talked about new series you can't find anywhere else. And the latest hit movies. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Well, some baby formula retailers have begun restricting sales. The Retail Council of Canada says the move is to cope with spiking demand due to recalls of certain products.
For more on this, we're joined live this afternoon by Michelle Wasselishin from the Retail Council of Canada. Thanks so much for making time, Michelle.
Thank you.
So let's start off with what's behind this formula shortage. How did we get here and how bad is it right now?
Well, there's a couple of different things happening right now. So we do have some of our retailers that are telling us that they only have some temporary issues on their shelves, and we have others reporting that formula supply has been an issue for them since about mid-2021. And a lot of that has to do with the global supply chain challenges that we have heard about, at nonstop for the past couple of years during the pandemic. But certainly it's also been complicated by the closure of a Michigan production facility and product recall in February of 2022, so February of this year. And that's Abbott is that manufacturing facility. So they are still not shipping a number of their SKUs that have been impacted by the closure. I was told that the number of SKUs is about 24, so it's a significant number of products. A lot of those products also are specialized formula SKUs, and so for babies that have milk allergies and those kinds of things, and so certainly it can be concerning. So, as I mentioned, there's so much going on. A lot of this has to do with the global supply chain shortages and just, shortages of raw ingredients more generally, but certainly compacted by the Abbott closure.
And Michelle, what I find interesting about this is the fact that we understand manufacturers are asking consumers to contact them directly, it seems, for help on this. That seems pretty rare. Normally it's sort of, go through another way rather than coming directly to them.
Well, that's news to me. I haven't heard that. I know that from a retail perspective, our situation is a little bit different here in Canada. So we've all seen pictures of empty shelves in the US. Hopefully we're in a little bit of a different situation in Canada. So in Canada, our grocery retailers have very strong private label brands, and that's definitely helping out right now. Another thing that the Retail Council has done is we went to Health Canada, and we've done this a couple of times throughout the pandemic, and we have been in regular contact with them to approve a number of products to come into Canada for a limited time from other countries. And so those countries are, I believe it's the other manufacturing facilities within the United States, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Germany. And what that means is there's no compromise on quality. Certainly we wouldn't stand for that. But often products don't come into Canada because of labeling restrictions. And so we have been able to get Health Canada to put a number of products onto the approved list for a short period of time. It can be extended. And as a way to alleviate any of the issues on the shelves. As a mom myself, I understand that it's concerning. And so, we want people to understand that any shortages on the shelves are hopefully temporary in nature, but also that there's a big difference between Canada and the US situation.
Okay, so we're also hearing, Michelle, about a shortage of cooking oil. Can you explain what led to that and whether that might impact prices, at restaurants there?
Yeah, well, there's shortages all over the place. Again, it's that global supply chain challenge that we've been, in heavily in the storm of the eye for the eye of the storm for so long. But there's such a number of things going on now with regards to cooking oil. So before the invasion of Ukraine was the world's largest exporter of sunflower oil. And so, obviously you can imagine the impact the war has had on that particular product. And it's also increased the demand for other alternatives. So right now, the demand for all types of oils is at a very all-time high. I mean, in generally, we're looking at impacts right now now from a broad number of products because of the war in Ukraine. We've got rapidly escalating global oil prices. We have droughts, we have flooding, supply chain disruptions, increased transportation costs. Really, it continues to be a perfect storm of events that are impacting a wide variety of products. And, at the end of the day, prices are likely to be impacted. Retailers spent so much of their time and effort in 2021 trying to hold the line on many of the price increases that they were experiencing. But at the end of the day, that's only avoidable for so long. So unfortunately, it is going to hit us all in one way or the other.
All right, a reality check from the head of the Retail Council in Canada, Michelle Watson. Thanks for joining us here on TV24 Live at Noon.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.
You too.
And stay with us, much more coming up here on CP24 Live at Noon. Just ahead, we'll be speaking with the president of the Ontario Medical Association about which election platform best addresses the healthcare needs of people in this province. More on this coming up.
It's cannabis. You're stoned. Get into an all-new Grey's Anatomy tonight, 9/10 Mountain, only on CTV. Then stream anytime.
From OLG go back to Ontario. So when we play together, we win together.
Get the right mattress for less during the Brick Mattress Store's tent sale. We have the lowest mattress prices in Canada, guaranteed, starting at just $179. Or get 40% off this beauty rest set with 800 pocket pillows for target support is just $799. And get 57% off this final clearance City Park Beauty Queen mattress featuring chill memory foam to regulate your temperature for a cool night's sleep. It's only $899. The Brick Mattress Store, the right mattress guaranteed.
The Conservatives and Liberals have been playing the same game for years. But no matter who wins, Ontarians lose.
It's time to change the game. I'm Andrea Horvath. It's your turn to win.
Welcome back. The Ontario Medical Association now grading the platforms in the provincial election campaigns on how well they address recommendations for better healthcare in this province.
And for more on the findings here, we're joined live by Dr. Rose Zacharias of the new OMA president. So congratulations on your new role, Dr. Zacharias. And also, let's find out which party has received the 3 stethoscopes from the OMA.
So indeed, we are excited about the upcoming provincial election, and we've released our prescription for Ontario as well as our report card. And so you'll see that we have stethoscopes that show how well each party's aspect of their platform is aligned. Our prescription really highlights catching up on the backlog and increasing community and long-term care and mental health supports, and indeed getting every patient connected with a family doctor in Ontario.
So, Doctor, let me just ask, which party lines up most, which party's platform lines up most with what you guys were looking for at the OMA?
So we are very encouraged by every party's platform when it comes to improvements in the healthcare system. The pandemic has definitely highlighted the gaps in the system. We are looking for alignment around our prescription for Ontario, which is available at betterhealthcare.ca. And like I said, the priorities there are the catching up of the backlog and all of the other recommendations that we have outlined in the prescription. And so there are many aspects to each of the party's platforms that do align.
Okay, I'm just kind of going through your press release here. It says, hint, only one party so far gets the full 3 stethoscopes. Are you able to tell us what that party is?
Sure, yeah. So the 3 stethoscopes are for the NDP, and its recommendation for healthcare in Northern Ontario. And so we know that in the North, there are extreme challenges with the healthcare system, especially around mental health and addictions. And so this is one aspect of one of the political parties where they get free stethoscopes, but it really is adding up all those stethoscopes and seeing where they fit on the report card. We are going to be releasing more updated report cards as we go forward in order to better understand how the healthcare parties are aligning with our prescription for Ontario.
So, Doctor, can you talk a bit about which parts of the healthcare sector you'd like to see improvements from when it comes to the other parties' platforms?
Absolutely. So we know that community care and long-term care needs to be invested in particularly. And so we also know that taking procedures out of the hospital that have been traditionally done there. We talk about the backlog and how 22 million patient procedures are currently on the shelf as a result of dealing with the crisis of COVID. We need to catch up on these hip surgeries, knee surgeries, cataract and hernia surgeries, colonoscopy and mammogram cancer screening. And so the number one priority Ontarians have made it very clear is catching up on the backlog. But secondarily, the investment in community and long-term care, as well as the other key pillars in the prescription, are what we would be looking for investments in.
Healthcare, obviously a huge issue as we inch closer to the next provincial election. Dr. Rose Zacharias, thanks so much for your time and your insight on this. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next here on CP24 Live at Noon, we are live on the scene of a warehouse fire near the East Mall in Dundas. The latest on this coming up at 12:30.
Cappy!
The heavy hitter. The original. The award winner. The non-conformist. The weekend warrior. There's an award-winning Ram truck just for you. Available now with our biggest inventory in 22 months during the month of Ram. Get up to $5,000 in discounts for select owners. Plus, financing as low as 2.99%. Bathfitter doesn't just fit your bath. We fit your life. When you're tired of looking at your tired old bath, we fit your style with hundreds of design options. When a normal day is anything but normal. We fit your schedule with our unique tub-over-tub process installed in as little as a day. When high quality is the only quality that matters, we fit your standards with a lifetime guarantee. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
If you've been denied your long-term disability benefits, SHARE is there.
Share lawyers with over 30 years of experience.
We've earned the trust of the people of Ontario.
We've helped thousands of people, so we understand what you're going through.
Because sometimes insurance companies care more about profit.
But we make them care about you.
If you've been denied your long-term disability benefits, SHARE is there. Call SHARE Lawyers, 888-225-9020.
You can see how much thought has been put into it.
It's like, wow, somebody really loves what they do.
One of the best home kitchens you can be in as a professional chef.
Play and where the light comes in.
I mean, it's just exquisite.
It feels very inviting. That's a wonderful thing.
What do you treasure?
What do you treasure?
What do you treasure?
Afternoon in the West End, where emergency crews are dealing with an active fire at the Metro distribution center. This is on Vickers Road near the East Mall in Dundas. The building has been evacuated.
The city wants to hire private security guards to patrol parks to prevent encampments. Reaction to this coming up.
Could it happen tonight? The Leafs could advance to the second round of playoffs for the first time in 18 years. All they need to do is knock off the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to CP24 Live at Noon. I'm Nick Dixon.
And I'm Chanel Paul. Crews are now on the scene of a fire at a grocery warehouse in Etobicoke this hour.
Our Steve Ryan joined us live from the scene of the Metro distribution center near the East Mall in Dundas. Steve, seems like the scene, compared to what it was just about an hour or so ago, much more calm and controlled.
Yeah, that's right, Nick. The controlled is a good word. So there is good news on two fronts. Number one, as you said, the fire is under control, if not out at this particular point. And number two, there are no injuries. Now, I'm told this building is a food distribution center and it is a brand new building still under construction. Also told that there was some work being done up on the roof, possibly tar being laid on the roof, and fire personnel tell me that there was insulation on the roof that caught on fire. As to what ignited that insulation is still unknown at this time. It will be part of the investigation. There are two aerial trucks still up in the air. Just up until a few minutes ago, they were putting water on the roof, and I'm told that was to put out any hot spots that may have still been burning, but they've since stopped that. So that is also a good sign that this fire, if not under control, it certainly is put out at this point in time. The Vickers Road is still closed, just off of the East Mall. And that's about all we have right now. We were expecting information, an update rather, from fire personnel, but it seems that there is not much to provide right now, given the fact that the fire is out. There's been no injuries, and it will be under investigation to find out what exactly caused this thing to ignite. So back to you guys.
Steve Ryan live for us. Thanks so much. We're also following developing news this hour. Don Mills in Lawrence, where one person has been shot. Police say the gunfire broke out just after 11 o'clock this morning. A male victim was found with serious injuries. Paramedics say the injuries are not life-threatening, and police say the suspect fled the scene. Officers are now canvassing the area for evidence and witnesses.
Well, if you had to catch a flight out of Pearson Airport lately, you know all about the long lineups to get through security. Well, now Toronto business leaders are calling on the federal government to do something about it. Leaders in Ontario's tourism sector are calling on the feds to lift pandemic restrictions at Pearson, which they say are contributing to the long lines. They believe the current situation could hurt the province and Canada's economy, given that it is the country's biggest airport.
Before the pandemic, processing by government agencies at the airport took on average 30 seconds for arriving passengers. Today, it takes up to 2 minutes. These health checks happening at airports are obsolete and contribute to these never-seen-before waiting times. These two public health measures could be immediately lifted to address issues at Canada's largest airport.
And there are more long lineups for people looking to renew their passport or get new ones. This was the scene outside the passport office in a mall on Burnhamthorpe Road in East Mississauga today. A CB24 viewer tells us people started lining up there at midnight. Long lines have been an issue for weeks now as demand for passports surges as travel restrictions have eased.
This is our third day here, me and the runaround, and everything's disorganized. Nothing's been done in proper order fashion. And everyone's here just to update their passport from anywhere from 3 to 25 days of traveling. For us, we're getting a rush order, and this is the third time being here. It's just ridiculous.
They should be able to handle this kind of situation. So, for what forbid if something happens, but I don't think so they can handle it. The transportation, airports, everything is messed up.
Infectious diseases physician Dr. Zane Chagla is now calling on the federal government to drop its mandatory vaccination policy for trains and planes in Canada. He says that policy is out of date.
The problem is with Omicron is everything has changed. And we do know, for example, 2 doses of vaccines offer very little protection against Omicron infection, very good protection against severe disease. 3 doses may offer some benefit, but it really is temporal, weeds over time. There are children on flights that are functionally unvaccinated, and so they're around as well. And there are people that have gotten Omicron that are, that are not vaccinated, but probably have some immunity to this virus equivalent to a vaccine.
And we'll get to the numbers today. Ontario is reporting 14 more COVID-19 deaths and a drop in hospitalizations. The province saying there are 1,451 people in hospital with the virus. That is down significantly from yesterday when there were more than 1,500 patients in hospital. 175 patients are now in ICU. 2,160 new cases are reported today, but health officials say that is an undercount due to limited PCR testing.
All right, well, we are one full week into the provincial election campaign, and there's been some controversy so far on the campaign trail.
For more on this, we're joined live this hour by Siobhan Morris, CTV Toronto's Queen's Park reporter. So, Siobhan, we're a week into rounding out the first week of the election campaign. Talk a bit about the big highlights from this week.
Well,
Well, the big highlight, I mean, just today was that we hadn't seen Doug Ford speak to reporters since Sunday morning. And so for the first time since then, we got to talk to him about some scandals, some minor scandals, let's say, that have erupted on the campaign trail, mainly about Stephen Lecce, the man who was education minister right before this election started. Of course, we've been talking about the fact that Stephen Lecce participated in 2006 at university a slave auction for charity. There had been questions about whether Doug Ford would ask Stephen Lecce to step aside as a candidate. That's definitely not the case. Listening to Doug Ford speak today, he says that he stands beside Lecce, behind Lecce, and that he highlighted Lecce's work to combat racism in schools. There's also been, of course, a major focus this whole week on affordability. The cost of everything's going up, gas, housing. So we're hearing all those different party leaders trying to sell what they're offering should they be elected June 2nd to make life more affordable for Ontarians.
Of course, that's 3 weeks from today, Siobhan, so time is certainly running out to sort of continue those pitches going. And also we understand, so we've got the Lecce situation on the PC side, but on the Liberal side, they've lost their third candidate this week.
They have today, just today, a couple hours before the deadline to lock in names on the ballot. They've parted ways with a candidate out in the Chatham region. The NDP highlighted some old Facebook posts from this candidate using a homophobic slur. Stephen Del Duca didn't know about this initially when he was asked about it this morning, but said he would act quickly. And almost a few minutes after that news conference was over, we did find out from the Liberal Party that they have parted ways. The Liberal also let go 2 candidates in Northern and Central Ontario. One of them, the reason's not entirely sure, but this was an 18-year-old high school student who'd been acclaimed in Sault Ste. Marie. And then in Parry Sound, Muskoka, another candidate was let go after it came to light that he'd self-published a book with some questionable views about how a child could be, just some questionable, let's just say, some questionable views about homosexuality.
And Siobhan, no big controversies when it comes to the NDP this week, but Andrea Horwath, leader of the NDP, taking some questions about how long she may last as leader of that party.
Yeah, this is her 4th kick at the can as leader of the NDP, and there are questions about if she is not able to form government or not able to grow the party seat count come June 2nd, if she will be able to stay on. Andrea Horwath not really addressing those, just sort of focusing on the road ahead, but there is certainly discussion about this might be it for Andrea Horwath if she can't improve upon her party's results from 2018.
And of course, Andrew Horwath is promising a costed platform from the New Democrats, at least when it comes to sort of their budgetary idea. But of course, the Green Party today with Mike Turner, he released his costed platform. Anything interesting coming out of that, Siobhan?
Well, there's a major commitment to affordability and, of course, to the environment because we're talking about the Greens. Maybe the centerpiece of it is a home retrofit program that will play a major role in the Green Party's objective to cut carbon emissions in Ontario by half in 2030, just 8 years away, and then to be totally carbon neutral in 2045. The Greens are proposing a major retrofit program that would see homes and businesses retrofitted, 40% of them, again, in just 8 years, and to have everybody retrofitted by 2040. Those retrofits installing more energy efficient windows, better insulation, again, with the goal of just using less energy and making for a cleaner environment. Also, a couple interesting nuggets in here. Maybe not anything that necessarily costs money, but there are some discussions about electoral reform, which I know piques the interest of a lot of people. Picking up on a discussion that's happening at the federal level, the suggestion to drop the voting age down to 16 and to give us all a paid holiday on election days in Ontario.
All right, some big promises there. We'll see how this all shakes out. Thanks so much, Siobhan. Great chatting with you.
Thanks, Siobhan.
You're welcome.
Well, some Toronto parks could soon see private security guards on patrol around the clock as part of the City of Toronto's efforts to deter encampments. The city says security will monitor specific parks like Trinity Bellwoods, Lamport, Alexandra, and Dufferin Grove 24 hours a day to make sure they're safe and accessible. Security guards would also advise the city right away if any illegal tent or structure is erected. Streets to Homes teams would then be called in to help anyone experiencing homelessness.
Idea is to prevent, large-scale encampments from becoming the norm in our parks, and so this is about prevention. This is also, importantly, about making sure that those experiencing homelessness know that there are services available to those who want to avail themselves of it.
And one man we spoke to at Trinity Bellwoods this morning told us this is the wrong approach.
I think the security guard would be great to protect us that are homeless, not to protect you guys from us, right? Because there are bad people that are homeless. They're drug addicts and stuff like that, and they're the ones they've even stolen from me.
Now, the cost of hiring security for the parks at this point hasn't been determined.
Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs could advance to the second round of the playoffs for the first time in 18 years, but only if they can beat the two-time defending Stanley Cup champs, the Lightning, on the road tonight in Tampa Bay.
Now, the team's definitely got its work cut out for them. So we're joined now by Lucas Chalabre from TSN's Bar Down to sort of tee this up for us. Lucas, so here we are. It's a big challenge to take out the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, and the numbers don't favor the Leafs in terms of their record when they've had chances to close out series lately, do they?
No, they don't. Since 2013, they're 0 for 8 in this scenario when they've got a kind of win in advance and eliminate an opponent. And started with that heartbreaking loss to Boston, that breakdown that I think a lot of Leaf fans, it still haunts them to this day. And most notably last year when they had 3 cracks at Montreal to beat them up 3-1 and couldn't get it done and dropped 3 straight games to lose that series. So you feel like this team is different, and I feel like last game was an indicator that this team is different, going down 2-0 and coming back to beat the Lightning. I feel like Leafs teams in the past may have crumbled under that pressure in that moment, but they didn't. And I think that sign alone is encouraging enough, but until they actually get it done, I feel like we can't keep saying this team is different, because if they end up losing this game and then the next game in Game 7 and losing again, then it is more of the same.
Okay, so what do these guys have to bring tonight?
I think the fast start is crucial. And even though they won last game and they were down 2-0 in the first period in the first 10 minutes. So the second straight game in a row where they've just been down 2 goals in the blink of an eye, that's not going to cut it, I don't think, on the road where they don't have the energy of a building to kind of give them life. And the penalties are still an issue. The power play goal from Victor Hedman put them down 2-0, and you really don't want to give Tampa Bay any extra opportunities, especially on home ice. So I think what changed in that game was the second period was much more 5-on-5 heavy for both teams, and they really took that play to Tampa Bay. When it was just even strength, that's when they started to find their legs, get all 4 lines in. Every line had chances, it seemed like. And Colin Blackwell, for example, had a great one-timer opportunity that Andre Vasilevsky had stopped. So I think that just getting everyone involved in this game is going to be crucial for them, and that starts with not taking penalties.
Yeah, exactly. You get Austin Matthews on the ice more if you don't take penalties, Luca. So let's talk about the lineup in general. Are there any changes tonight that we should expect? Any injuries, any concerns about Leaf players who may not be starting that you'd like to see in the lineup tonight?
I don't think so. And I know a lot of people have been, the conversation obviously around Justin Hall has kind of been the primary focus when it comes to lineup conversations, but I think that he is going to stay in the lineup. I don't know why you would change anything if you're Sheldon Keefe. He put Michael Bunting back on the top line, which was really important, and he came through on that game-winning goal, made a great pass to Mitch Marner. He was forechecking hard all night, just bringing everything that he's brought all season long. I think they kind of tinkered with their lineup a little too much this series, but now that they've won that game and won a couple and have kind of just felt their way into this lineup, I think this is the one that needs to stay. And the Justin Hall thing is interesting because he's brought in primarily to kill penalties, which he's done a great job of the last 2 games. He's been a big part of that penalty kill that held Tampa to 1 for 8 in that blowout loss. Say what you will about that blowout loss, but they were 1 for 8 on the power play, and that has to do with bringing a guy like Justin Hall in who can kill penalties. And he had a critical assist on the Nylander goal as well. Got the puck up to Ilya Mikheyev, who then passed it to Nylander. But it's just one of those things where I think he gets a lot of bad rap from Leaf fans, which is probably really unfair for him and the role that he plays. And it was nice to see him have a good game.
I want to ask more, Luca, about fans and the fan experience. You know, now the Maple Leaf Square is open again. We've been covering the games from Maple Leaf Square the last couple of times. People are just so excited. There is this huge sense of celebration there. How much does that help motivate the players?
I think it helps motivate them a lot. Jack Campbell talked about it last game, just how much they feed off of the fans and how that energy helped them kind of bounce back in that game when they were down 2-0. And so the square is awesome. I've been there every single game as a referee, dressed up as a referee with my partner Eric, and that's been a lot of fun. But it's been fun just to be immersed in that environment and see how passionate the fans are. You can tell that this is something that they've waited for a long time, and even though it's the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions, they're confident in their team, and for them, I think it does feel different this time around. I know we keep saying that, but in years past, it's felt like, oh, this is the same old Leafs team, and oh, let's just wait for the collapse. But in all honesty, this run right now in this series does feel a little different. Whether that has to do with the fact that, okay, Tampa's won 2 in a row, and maybe this is their time to finally lose a series, or if it just is the fans just believing wholeheartedly that this group of guys can get it done. I'm not sure which one it is. It's probably a combination of both, but it's a good thing to see.
It certainly is. Okay, we're enjoying the content from Bardown and you as well. Good job on that. Thanks so much for helping tee up Game 6 tonight, and I guess we'll see how it all plays out coming up at 7:30 when the puck drops. Have a great one.
Thanks, Luca.
Thank you.
Well, traffic is moving well on the major routes, no major crashes, so that's some good news. But we're dealing with some volume. Let's take a look at the cameras. 41 eastbound through Mississauga Road. Typical volume there. Things backed up to Winston Churchill. And the volume continues. Eastbound, actually, we have a stalled vehicle, just spotting it off to the right shoulder, actually. 401 eastbound express at Bathurst. So watch out for that. It's off to the right shoulder. And the 401 through Weston Road, we're seeing lots of volume. Eastbound lanes, express, and collectors. We had some earlier issues there, but now you're just dealing with volume. The 401 westbound through Dixie, we had a crash in that area. That's been cleared. Traffic is moving well once again. Volume, that starts to build. 401 westbound through Mavis. That's just the typical volume in that area. Don Valley Parkway through York Mills, that's moving well in both directions. No problems on the Don Valley Parkway. And the Gardner in good shape, eastbound and westbound, in and out of the downtown core. Off the major routes, a warehouse fire at the East Mall in Dundas. That's been put out, but Vickers Road, just off the East Mall, that's been closed. And also there's a police investigation at Don Mills and Lawrence. That's it for traffic. Back to you.
The CP24 traffic report is brought to you by CapitalDirect.ca.
Okay, next here on Live at Noon, we'll talk to an aviation expert about a passenger who had to make an emergency landing in Florida. This person had no flight training. This was after the pilot had a medical episode. That conversation next.
Where are you? I'm on a mini road trip with a friend. They've agreed to let your colleagues testify. Sperm smells?
Yesterday, our training trained, and I might have cheated.
Nervous about meeting your brother.
It feels weird to even say the word brother. I wonder if you grew up the way I did. Hi, Jack.
Station 19, the last episode before the season finale. Tonight at 8, 9 Mountain, only on CTV. Then stream anytime on CTV.ca and the CTV app.
I use Please for Cash and own a house or a condo. I'm Harold the Mortgage Closer. I can arrange a speedy mortgage and have the funds deposited into your account in 24 hours. $20,000, $50,000, even $100,000. Call me now for a speedy mortgage to relieve your financial stress. Fastest mortgage in town.
The suspense starts before you scratch.
Jumbo Cash, please.
The new Jumbo Cash Instant Scratch Ticket with top prizes of $300,000.
You won.
Facing expensive vitamin C creams with dull results? Olay brightens it up with Olay Vitamin C. Gives you 2 times brighter skin. Hydrates better with $400 cream. Olay. Face anything.
Planning ahead for summer is smart, but saving on a new AC now is even smarter. During the Reliance Early Bird Sale, you can save $1,100 off the regular price of our featured AC. So don't wait if you want a great deal today.
My dad was an auto worker. Mom saved schools at night. I learned about hard work from them. They taught me when something's broken, we roll up our sleeves and fix it. It's why I fought for workers, for families, ever since. I'll work to fix healthcare instead of cutting it. Fix seniors' care instead of neglecting it. and bring down the costs families face every day.
I'm Andrea Horvath. I'm running for Premier